Our mission is basically to have fun. We consider ourselves a sign company, but our definition of a sign is anything that creates attention to our customers' product, service, or business. So that leaves us unlimited areas to be creative. So I always knew I wanted to be an artist, and I had basically no idea what an artist did other than a few art books and of course The Wonderful World of Disney. When I was 14, my brother won a contest painting a window and he won $15 prize. And a light went on in my head. It's like, you can actually make money doing art. And I sold window splashes, and in 2 weeks after school and on weekends, I made about $600 after school that first year, which in 1968 or 69, whenever that was more money than my dad made in a month. It was an incredible amount of money. When I met my wife in high school, still doing signs and stuff and odd jobs, started my own sign company when I was 15. The first year we were married, we went down to Disneyland. I fell in love with what I saw there, and I knew somehow, some way, that's what I would do as a career. In 2003, we bought this property, a small acreage in a small town. We purposely located it here. It's on a road that leads up to a lake that is the biggest tourism area of this area. There's 1 million people drive by every year. I am blessed with the most awesome business partner in the world. That was my wife. I remember bringing her these awesome plans for the shop, my dream shop, and I drew them all out and brought them to her. And she looked at me and she said, no. And I was just heartbroken. And she said, no, you've dreamed of this shop for 20 years. She said, tear up those plans, build it bigger, build it better, and build it once. At that point, we were doing some pretty cool work by hand, and I entered a competition, Signs at a Time's annual competition, which I dreamed of for probably 40 years. And we took a first place award, and it just blew me away that our work was finally good enough after all those years of promising myself someday we'd be there. But while I was there, I saw a CNC machine operating, and I knew I had to have one. Eventually, I told my wife that we would finance a machine over 2 years, and her standard answer is, you're a liar, you exaggerate, so we'll finance it over 4 years. And all the while I was adamant I would pay for the machine in 6 months. That proved to be right, one of the few times I was right. But we had to get there. So when we finally made the decision to go with a machine, my wife said, make sure you get the best. We're not too worried about price at that point. We want a best machine that would service us, because I'm not a computer guy. I don't want to think about my machine. I simply want to create using the machine. For 3 months, I created samples. They were small samples. I decided we'd create every letter of the alphabet, and we learned to do textures, learned to do how we would paint it, finish it, gold leafing. We did all that stuff on these letters. And then I set up a very rudimentary studio in my office, and I took really good pictures of those samples, and I sent them to Tom McEltrott at Signcraft magazine in Florida. The industry had never seen anything like it. I don't consider myself super smart. The routers were capable, the software was capable. There's some very creative artists out there, but those 3 things hadn't come together, and that's what I managed to do. By coincidence, one of the people who got the magazine was Jeff Hartman, and his brother are the people who created OnRoute software. A few days later, I got a phone call from Jeff, and Jeff says, love your work. Says here you used our software. And I said, yes, I did. And his comment was, well, what other software did you use? And I said, only yours. And he said, I want to talk to you. Can I fly up and see you? And he spent 3 days in my studio while I showed him what I did. In the last couple of years, I've been working with Jeff, and we're working on a new routing software, which I'm super excited about. It's called IBEX. In fact, I have a meeting next week or a week after with Jeff and his son for a couple of days to talk about what do we want to do with the router in the future, where we want to take it, how do we want to expand its creative capabilities. There came a time where the machine threw a code, which every machine will do. I don't care whose they are. And I phoned their service department, and their attitude is, because the company had been sold and the new management didn't have the same focus on customer care and quality, I'm sure they still build a great machine, but suddenly it was, we're not interested in servicing your machine anymore. We suggest you buy a new machine, which to me sounded crazy, and it made me lose confidence in that company. Over the weekend, I did some research. ShopSabre came up pretty quick. I watched, they got a great video collection. I watched a number of videos. So I wanted a high-end machine. I'm interested in service. And through the videos, I came across a video with Peter Penosa, Keensign Works, a guy I know well. He recommended the machine. A quick phone call to him confirmed. Other than that, the machine, I know it's a top-end machine that'll last me many, many years. While most shops are looking for a super clean cut or a certain speed, we're looking at how creative can it be? Can we introduce texture? Can we make stuff look handmade? I see the router as a way taking the grunt work out of the creative process. It'll take out huge amounts of material and rough stuff out. Quite often we add handwork to it later. I'm a big fan of texture. It's a signature part of our work, is introducing texture, purposeful texture into every single thing we do. It makes our painting process easier and faster, and it makes us more creative. And so your pieces are created very quickly. And so anything that is repeatable or requires precision, this is the machine we use to do that. Anything that's super creative, that comes out of your head or from your hands. And so combining those, we can create work where the customer doesn't know what's done on the machine. Our machine is purposely in the back room, so that when customers come in, they see creative, they don't know we use a robot to do a fair amount of it. So the machine allows us to do that. We have personal projects here that we're working on. We have a passion project we always have on the go in our shop. And so out of that, Hazelnut Inn was born. And Hazelnut Inn is a place where couples can come and live a fantasy and create lifelong memories in this. The castle is part of it, and there's 2 other suites too. And that is a showcase. Everything dovetails back. We don't do one thing, everything dovetails back. So the Hazelnut Inn is probably our greatest showcase of our work. We have a saying in our shop is we can't push a rope. I don't try and sell anything. I simply show you what we can do, and you tell me where your limit is, because our limit is higher than that. So that's how we operate. It's been a fun journey through the years, going from all hand-created stuff to embracing CNC technology and using it along with our creative team to create amazing projects. Thankfully, the company's in good hands now, with my son taking over and eventually my grandson. And thanks to ShopSabre, it's going to be a great future.